Hey everybody, clearing. All right, we are going to get into a reading that's going to look at the feminines and the masculines and what's going on in each of their own awarenesses and where they are considering the other one. I was just giggling because I heard it's the unified field theory. So let's get into what the unified field has going on here for the counterpart. So thank you, Divine Creator, for using me as a channel of only the highest, most beneficial information coming through. What are the divine feminines and the divine masculines thinking and feeling about their own side of the energy and their connection to their counterpart? What are they feeling about consciously and in the heart space? What are they wishing to manifest? What are they willing to do? What action are they planning? What is the biggest challenge for each? What is the spirit guided solution for each and those challenges and the direction in the near future? Okay, so conscious mind about the connection. We're getting King of Cups. So that's a lot of unexpressed emotion. How are the feminines managing this on their side? Wow, King of Cups in the inverse. I heard they're not wasting their breath on waiting for this expression of love. They're carrying on doing the best they can. That's what I heard. What are they considering when it comes to their counterpart? Yeah, ooh, anxiety. So for the feminines here, they've kind of given up trying to get blood from a stone, I just heard, with regard to the emotional expression from the masculine. I'm just kind of amused by that, because isn't it when we let go of expectation that what we wish for can come? So feminines, stop desiring to have a certain show of the emotional acceptance. Stop seeking that validation from your masculine here. Just channel that energy to yourself. Really ask the divine to show you how you've been a blessing in your masculine's life and how your masculine has been a blessing in your life. That's the remedy for your anxiety. That is going to be more accurate. Divine intel is going to be more accurate than anything your masculine can put into words or not about how they feel about you or the connection at this time. How are the masculines feeling or thinking of their side of the energy? Prosperity and growth. So masculines are containing their emotions intentionally for the sake of growth. So that can mean, feminines, that there's things going on where your masculine feels it's more of a safe container for this connection to not come forward yet, to not express the emotions, to not lead you on, to not be premature with certain sentiments or awarenesses. With the anxiety for the feminines here, you could be in a compromised position or the illusion of it. You might be facing something right now that you would really like to have your masculine there to support you, and you might be feeling abandoned. Just know you're capable and you've got this, and you don't actually need another person there to support you in any shape or form. So if that resonates for you, remember you're a divine being. Remember your God self. So masculines are really feeling there is an opportunity for real growth here. So feminines, I do see the feminines pulling their energy back because they are sort of not willing to force anything right now, but that the masculines are feeling this as room to breathe and room to grow. How are the masculines thinking of their feminine? They're still keeping a watchful eye on you, feminines. They're still aware of the circumstances in your life. So it's not that they've forgotten you or out of sight, out of mind. They're still very aware of you, even though you may not feel like they're that involved. They still absolutely have tabs on you, I'm hearing. More than you could imagine. They don't want to taint the process, and so they have some very masterful ways of knowing how you are and what's going on in your life. It's not creepy at all. They're just very careful not to force their free will into your side of the energy. What can we see for the conscious mind for each? Wow. Now we get the King of Pentacles. That's my hubby card, commitment card. So all this emotion feels like it's being channeled towards partnership, commitment, consistency, abundance. How are the feminines navigating that in their own right? Justice in the inverse. So this card keeps showing up for the feminines, and whatever legal matters, financial matters, all sorts of contracts and things that need to be resolved. This is, feminines, you're channeling this commitment to self. So if you're not, you're being shown on this journey that this full commitment hasn't come in fully from your counterpart. That's because whatever is needing to be brought to justice in your own sovereign life, your commitment to seeing that through in your own right and balancing that out for yourself with connection to source, that is like you earning your stripes. Not that you are not worthy of love already, but you get this beautiful experience of coming into that without anybody having to coddle you or do it for you. There's something so magnificent about you knowing how capable you actually are, and getting past victim, getting past abandonment wound, getting past whining about things, and really coming into the full awareness of how divine you really are. That kind of commitment to the process, the second wind I just heard that can come in and support you. How does this relate to your counterpart? Yeah, you're tucking the love away deep in your heart, and it is propelling you. It's like, even though some of the tendencies here are to feel the last remaining, like, where's my person? I'd love to have a cuddle buddy, or to make love, or to chat, or to strategize with someone. You can still do this, and the love remains. So there is still this inspiration for you masculines that your feminine still really does prefer you and love you, even though they're going through this, but they are tapping into that resilience so that they're doing it in their own right. How are the masculines navigating this energy of commitment? They're poised. We've been seeing this, that the feminines are dealing with justice needing to prevail, and the masculines are sort of at the edge of their seats, kind of waiting for when they can come in. So they're learning about masterful timing aligned with divine timing. How does this relate to the feminine? They're praying about the timing. This is my card of prayer. So they're readying themselves to seize the opportunity. What can we see on the heart space? 5 of Swords, Lord of Defeat. This is my card of free will. So in the past, we may have very much, thrown in the towel too soon, or gone into a negative assessment or a fear-based assessment of what we perceive isn't unfolding the way we want it to. That's not what's going on. At this level of consciousness, we have much more ability to take ownership and accountability for what we are manifesting, what we're seeing reflected in our reality, and to have the proper belief, thoughts, and attitudes that allow for the momentum, the progress, the movement that we actually desire. Instead of taking no for an answer, we're coming through the hump. We're coming over the hump with feeling like anything is outside of our ability. It's like nothing has power over us, dominion over us. In the name of love, we can move through all obstacles. How are the feminines applying this to their life? Knight of Wands. They're deepening their ability to stay the course. So feminines, emotionally, when things don't go your way, what is the first way that the feminines run? Oh, this was all in my head. This was a trick. It wasn't what I thought it was. This isn't my person. There's this immediate tendency to feel like all is lost. That's running. So this is about staying power. And you have the ability to go beyond that fragile way of trying to find bearings when things are out of your control. You have the ability to go deeper and to use your free will to find that viable path forward that does not polarize and pit your masculine or anybody as the bad guy or yourself as the bad guy, because we can undermine in both directions there. How does this pertain to the masculines? Okay, so this is a little bit of a humble look at where the feminine does not give and receive equally, where the feminine withdraws their energy with an imbalance, and where the feminines can continue to balance out more effectively by having the right thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, and using the free will as a tool to find those loving angles. Love is eternal, and so when we truly strike that loving awareness, there is nowhere to go. Separation is an illusion. We are right where we're meant to be, and we're grateful, ecstatically grateful. What can we see for how the masculines are handling the Five of Swords? Masculines right now are realizing their tendencies to be codependent. They're realizing this way that they have not been able to stay the course at other times when there has been the appearance of near misses or false starts in this connection, because we're looking at this leap of faith the masculines are waiting to be able to take here. In the past, if things didn't unfold in a timely manner, the masculines would pull the plug and run. Physically go, say they don't have feelings, end the connection, end that cycle. Masculines are realizing that they have more ability to choose life-affirming choices in these moments, that they don't have to cut the connection off or negate the feelings when they're running out of patience or stamina or capacity to believe that this can continue going forward. So both are seeing they have the ability to move themselves beyond the energy and attitude of defeat. How does this pertain to the feminine? This is your masculine coming into the embodiment of this energetic leadership. This is, and the Knight of Wands is the knight in the same suit as my divine masculine King of Wands here. So this is like the two becoming a match for each other. It feels like the masculines are working on embodying this externalized view of what the feminines are working on internalizing. What can we see on the heart space for each other? Nine of Pentacles. This is the card of sovereignty, of having our own accountability. This same card as the masculines had here, where they're looking at any of the ways that they deflect, defer, avoid, dismiss, run, throw in the towel. This is gaining traction in the physical. So both right now are establishing a material realm gain in the connection with this staying power. What can we see for how the feminines are applying this? Ace of Wands, new inspiration. Come what may, not a care in the world. So feminines are getting beyond the habit of cycling down and suffering, spiraling, when things don't appear a certain way in the 3D, in the material realm. The feminines are taking a more inspired, intentional approach. How is that related to their masculine? They're beginning to apply this to the things that they don't understand. They're beginning to apply this before they see the results. Believing is seeing. So they are pinpointing that which they wish to see specifically, and they're starting to see it manifest and be realized in the connections because they have belief in it. So they're starting to see their influence on their reality more consistently. Not that they're carrying the work for this thing, for this connection on their own, but they're not spiraling and adding any sort of hindrance or resistance to it. They're becoming more genuinely receptive to you, masculines. And that is because they are shifting into possibilities and seeing the glass half full, but also setting intentions, like inspired intention. They're starting to seek out the awareness of what they would want to see. If they're not seeing things that feel good, they are directing their energy into, instead of being stuck there, they are now emerging with the ability to believe in what can be possible rather than just focusing on what isn't flowing. What can we see for the masculines? Healing of heartache. So there's progress being made here for the masculines in their own life with repairing friendships, repairing rifts in different connections. So I hear falling out with friends are being healed. They could be seeing where there have been energies that have been undermining this connection. They're starting to identify where they have been responsible for misconceptions about your connection. To family and friends, they're starting to repair any of those misguided assessments or misleading. I wanted to say awarenesses. So friends and family, these masculines haven't necessarily represented the depth and significance of this connection accurately to friends and family. And friends and family there's been a wobble, is what I'm seeing. And these masculines are taking accountability for that, for their happiness, for the truth of it. And they are repairing, calling out, having conversations, setting records straight with third-party energies that have specifically gotten the wrong idea about this connection. Wow. That is so good. Like literally put an amen in the comments below. I heard. How does this relate to the feminine? This is what is required for the masculines to move forward unapologetically in truth and righteousness in this connection. So while the feminines are dealing with legal matters or contracts or things that need to play out that way, it looks like the masculines are actually using their time wisely to set the stage with specific individuals in their side of the energy that were not aware to the extent that this connection was meaningful to the masculine. What can we see for manifestation going forward? Wow. Yeah, justice, daughter of the Lord of truth. Wow. Double amen. So feminines, this is the justice working out in your favor, and here's the yin yang with your counterpart that can come together once justice prevails. Masculines, this is the Lord of truth that needs to come in with friends and family for you to set the stage and admit to friends and family the love that you have for your feminine and the love that they have for you. So there's an ambassadorship here that you're meant to start talking to these individuals on a deeper level about the significance of this connection. This is you doing your due diligence to clear up anything that would be confusing to your friends and family, that would be misleading, that would be significantly misleading for these connections to come in. If your friends and family have incongruent awarenesses about this connection, it's time now to repair those beliefs, those sentiments. So the daughter of the Lord of truth. So this gentle energy of correction is going to be coming through you masculines into your friends and family's awareness of these connections. What can we see for how this justice is being anchored in for the feminines? The spirit of the law, not just the letter of the law. There's my card of the 3D. In the inverse, this is really feminines. When you have gone through the legal system or whatever you're navigating in a material realm sense, because the justice card for me is observable, factual evidence in the material realm. However, that's not the only aspect of the story. Spirit of the law is the energetics, the truth, the righteousness, the alignment, the backstory, the inner workings, the deeper aspects that the law is there in place to protect and uphold. The intention, the motive. And so you have been learning. It's not just that you've had to go through the ringer or face certain things in a legal or financial or official way. It's that you have been learning and coming through Earth School teachings on the spirit of the law and the elegance of the legal system, the elegance of the material realm framework that human beings are privy to at this day and age. How does this relate to your masculine? King of Pentacles, this has equipped you to be someone who is informed about what you're committing to. Because you are learning the inner workings of the spirit of the law, the spirit of interaction, the energy of exchanging with another person. I'm getting a lot of divorce proceedings and custody and other legal matters where you're learning how to really be accountable for your side of the energy, your choices, your level of awareness. This is preparing you to be a committed partner who is aware of the need for personal accountability. How are the masculines being? Okay, wow. So this is a little bit of a carryover. You know, there's growth here. There's a new beginning that wants to start, but there's a little bit of humble pie, but also heartache and sadness, depression, uncertainty here for the masculines because they haven't been in their strength and able to fully proclaim the truth of these connections. They have let things, lies by omission, I heard. They have missed out. They have lost out on the joy, the time being shared. They've been upholding appearances and letting friends and family, others, co-workers, whatever it may be, think that these connections aren't as significant as they are. I'm hearing the masculine saying that at a time they thought it could go to either way. They were not in enough secure belief and faith that this could work out because of their insecurities, because of their worthiness issues. That's where these misconceptions stemmed from. They downplayed or they flat out hid the connection. They didn't have enough confidence in the ability for these connections to triumph. They didn't want to over promise and under deliver. They didn't want to look foolish to their friends and family, but they have been secretly crying and they've had secret shame. They feel like they've let themselves and you down, feminines, and that it's time that they actually stand up for the truth of these matters. And they do feel like justice is coming, though. This is connected with the justice that I'm seeing for the feminines, that it's encouraging these masculines to now more confidently go for it, but they have been shouldering a lot of this melancholy along the way because it's been this uncertain or ambiguous sort of unfolding. How does this relate to the feminines? The Nine of Cups, they've been wishing for this day to come where things can be balanced, where they can be rectified, where it can be, the connection can have a justified beginning, a justified start. They've been wishing against all contrast that this love will prevail. And it's really put them into counsel with God because this journey defies logic so many times. I'm just seeing this petal coming out and I'm hearing does my feminine loves me, my feminine loves me not, my feminine loves me. It's like they've been going back and forth. They've been learning how to stay consistent and go through the ringer just like you, feminines. Okay, so what can we see for the action? The Queen of Wands now. So this is the flow. This is my card of grace and flow, like martial artist level of rolling with things, the flexibility, the ability to be in the present moment and know what is real and what is true in the present moment. How are the feminines connected to this energy? So they're not communicating right now about this, but this also is your becoming, your glow up, feminines. This is your liberation. This is you reclaiming your karmic sovereignty. This is you coming into embodiment of your mastery. This is you wielding your own sovereign spiritual energetic choices, but you're not talking to anybody about it. You're containing, you're being self-contained. How does this relate to your masculine? Yeah, right now you are becoming the master of your destiny. You're not deflecting or deferring to your masculine to hold those keys for you, the kingdom of heaven or the happiness. You are taking those into your own hands and realizing you alone can walk your path to ascend, to come into mastery. Nobody can do it for you, no matter if they're coddling you or showing up on the surface. You still have to go through it nonetheless. Whether they're in the physical with you or not, you still have to come through it in your own right. So there is this destined recognition that you are doing this, and your masculine is part of this whole sacred process, but they can't do it for you. And so there's this really mature energy I can feel in the midst of this that gets it straight. It's a blessing to have this person. They are not a surrogate for the work you need to do, though. You know, that's the codependency, when we look to somebody else to fill that void that we don't feel we can do on our own. And so this is a real tight ship. This is you tightening up the energy here, feminines, and realizing it's all part of this process, this awareness, this journey, this becoming, this awakening, this resilience, this capacity, your divinity, your mastery coming in. Good. This is great. How are the masculines handling this? Oh yeah, Queen of Wands. The masculines know that this is what it requires for you to come into all your glory. Right now, they don't feel it's necessarily fair that they have to hold back. They would like to be at the fun part. They want to be on the other side of whatever this karma cleanup is, or whatever needs to be balanced so that the physical connection can start. Don't for a second think that your masculine believes that they want to be apart from you. They are allowing, they are providing, they are protecting the connection by not coming rushing in, by giving it what it needs to unfold naturally, what your choices, your glow up, your freedom, your process needs to be authentically brought into success, feminines. And Queen of Pentacles in the inverse. So this is wifey energy. Like, they keep seeing these reasons why you're the best one for them. And it's like mental note to self. This is why I love this feminine. This is why I keep showing up. This is why I can't walk away. This is why it's worth the wait. This is why I'm still in this. They keep getting those revelations. What is the biggest challenge in the energy at this time? Opening our hearts, not being in scarcity, moving beyond the previous limitations, blowing through the hurdles, overcoming the obstacles. What can we see for how the feminines are handling this hermit mode about the destined path? What can we see for how that relates to the masculines? They're really going to higher guidance, divine guidance, for interpretation about how it works together and what they're perceiving and what they're meant to do about it. This is really channeling as a way of life, running all of their perceptions and choices consistently, more consistently through source, not being in fear that there is some finite limitation to this connection, to what's possible, to what is in store for them, to what they are worthy of. They're really going to divine guidance more and more frequently, consistently. How are the masculines dealing with this? Yeah, this Queen of Pentacles, they're really self-soothing. They're confirming that just because this connection hasn't unfolded yet does not mean that it's capped at where it has gotten to, that they keep yearning and wanting this connection. They keep desiring you as the best one for them. Feminines, what you want is wanting you. And so, yeah, these masculines continue to outlast the previous levels of patience that they thought they had. They are tapping into patience that they never knew they had. This journey is causing, I'm seeing the Grinch's heart expanding 10 times. It's like these masculines are realizing that how worthy of waiting for you are. The divine is continuing. I think for 3 months now, there's been constant revelation of why you feminines are so perfect for the masculines. The divine is showing your masculine that. What can we see for how this relates to the feminine? Sleepless nights. They're up around the clock right now thinking about this. I'm not surprised with the eclipse energy, because that's really the coherence of the sun and moon joining together, the masculine and the feminine unifying. So there's a lot of downloads, a lot of werewolf energy. I'm hearing insatiable energy. The masculines have really been saturated in the awareness that this is real love. You are theirs. This is unfolding. We are getting closer to being able to have these connections in the physical, more deeply integrated, grounded, layer after layer. It's in waves, it's in progress, in layers. What is the solution to this challenge? Wow. Lords of the hosts of the mighty, knowing that at any moment things can click. We finally get to certain breakthroughs, and we don't necessarily know the moment things will click or happen, or give way to freedom or relief or ability. But that's the solution, is to continue to be ready for delight, for instantaneous awareness that we're here, that it's available, that it's arrived. Now, that doesn't mean all at once and happily ever after. That means that this justice that we keep seeing, the stronghold of the physical that has kept these connections at bay in some regard, fully, from coming in fully in sacred wholeness, that moment, the pot boils eventually. And the solution here is knowing this is close. What are the feminines embodying here? Page of Cups, the surrender to it, the watchful eye, the peace in the waiting or in the awareness. How does this relate to the masculine? They know the time is coming. How are the masculines affected by this? They're emotional. It's helping dredge their emotions to prepare for this. The masculines are processing a lot of the emotions that they have had to stuff down or put in reserve for this now time, when these connections, when the progress can truly come in. Whatever this justified energy is, the masculines have been trying to keep a calm, cool composure and waiting for this moment to arrive, but the emotions are bubbling up, I'm hearing. And masculines, that's a really good indicator that there's momentum here. Even if you can't see it yet, that's stirring in your soul is an indicator it's coming, it's near, it's soon. You won't have to keep it under wraps much longer. What can we see for how this relates to your feminine? You have the ability to look at the emotions that are coming up for you as a negative or a positive. I encourage you to use your free will wisely, masculines, and really look at how anything that's challenging you, you can spin that in the right direction and use it as a proof that the love is close, instead of that it's being pushed away. When we're aware of certain themes in the energy, that's because we're in the vicinity of the healing of it. So even if it feels impossible, but we're thinking about what an obvious problem might be, the fact that that problem is brought up to our conscious mind at that time means it can instantaneously shift, and that we have that opportunity in this now moment to ask for that shift to come in. It's not meant there to bombard us and prove that it never changes and that it's the same old, and to feel helpless. No, every time that comes up, we are able to go to higher guidance and say, once and for all, how can I look at this, that this can change and be lasting change? The Tower is that instantaneous change that goes from one thing to a completely other thing. When we're transcending limitation of the material realm, opening our hearts, believing more, we never go back to the material realm assessment of things. We cannot unsee what we now see. We cannot unknow what we now know. And so remember that, masculines, every time you have an emotional awareness, anytime your emotions come up to inform you of something, you can look at that, even if it's uncomfortable, as a marker of progress. What can we see for this direction in the near future? The Eight of Pentacles, Lord of Prudence. This is the job well done to get to this stage, but it's also the energy that we get to navigate together as we specialize in coming together towards our legacy energy, our Ten of Pentacles together. We cannot by default get there on our own regarding the connection. There is a delightful period of working on it as a team, required to make it our own in our own way, while including our counterpart as an equal. And that's what I see is coming in the near future, is actually getting to start working on this. And to also realize that we've come through a lot of these trials and tribulations, and that neither of us have jumped ship, that this truly has been an endurance race, but that we are now getting to the fun part. What is the feminine energy here? Five of Swords, there's that free will. So masculines, feminines, it's all in how you look at it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I don't know if this makes sense to anybody, but use the sensation of the itch to scratch itself. Have you ever done that when you've had like a mosquito bite and you can feel the itchy sensation? You can trick your mind into pretending that that itchy sensation is actually the remedy for the itch. Like you can make it that is productive. That is the kind of way that you can spin anything, ironically, to be its own remedy. The answer is inherent in the question, meaning when we can formulate a question, the only way we can pinpoint what that question even is because we're already close to the answer. We are already one step away from knowing what we need by formulating the question. Therefore, be grateful that we're at that place where we can receive the answer, because we can be aware of the question. Before we're ready for that answer, we don't think to ask that question. What is it we can see for how this pertains to the masculine? Okay, so feminines, be comfortable in the uncertainty. I'm hearing trust the love and be ready to be delighted. Don't be in waiting. Be in the energy of excited anticipation for the good things to come. But not obviously limerence or mania, but don't spiral. Just carry on, knowing that one day that tower hits and it crosses over, into what you've been asking for. Obviously, for all to see. The masculines right now are preparing that by bringing you in on friends and family in a new way. You don't need to know all those details at this time. You just need to know where you're going. It's wonderful. What can we see for the masculines? Step by step. Here's the Two of Pentacles in balance with the feminine and masculine. Masculines are considering your say here. I know this isn't the one that's talking about how it relates to the feminine, but even in their own energy, they're preparing for this, bringing you in on their life is what I'm hearing. Doing it in a way that they are not inconvenienced. They've been making space on every level. Some of them have been renovating their home, I just heard, preparing their daily activities. Some of them have been clearing out their closet, I just heard, to make room for your things. Wow. I've only ever had the feminine messages about downsizing, and now I'm seeing that the masculines have been considering where you will fit into their world when they bring you in on it. How is this relating to the feminine right now? The masculines are really looking at what would make them happy, so that when you come in on their world, when they invite you in, when they carry you over the threshold, I just heard, that they will not be compromising or losing themselves or developing passive aggressive or resentment, because they are absolutely looking at what they require and what they need, so they don't have to compromise and lose themselves when you come in on their world, when they bring you in on their world. Wow. So, yeah, amazing. I think I'm just going to leave that there. Many blessings, everyone. Bye for now.